Here we go. Hi, everybody. My name is Galit, and I've got our co-host,
Angela Giles.
And we're going to be getting started here in just a minute on anxiety and stress relief tips. I do want to share with you that my PowerPoint is over to the left, so I will be looking that way, and that's why I'm looking to the left, just because it's going to look a little bit odd. Here we go. All right, so first of all, we're going to start sharing a little bit with you about who Everyday Woman is. And Everyday Woman's mission statement is really that we're a women's movement that supports and uplifts women to be the best version of themselves. And Angela, why don't you tell them a little bit more?
Yeah, so I just want to share with you, Galit and I were in a hotel room last October. She took me with her. She was speaking in California at two really incredible events, and I was her tag along. And we've been talking about how we wanted to start a women's movement, and Everyday Woman was born. So what we really have done over the past 5 months is we've created a website, we've created a community. We have over 7,100 women on Facebook in our community now. It's really truly a women's movement to help women around the globe better themselves. We have a podcast, we have an online TV show, we have a free daily planner, we have programs, we have a free manifesto, all kinds of really yummy, juicy stuff. We just came out with a book. So it's all just really to help you uplift yourself. And we really believe that it's you plus me equals community. We feel like in today's society, there's so many demands put on us, and we all want to be our best self in every area of our life. I don't think you can do it unless you have support and you have a community and have people that can uplift you. And when you have a community, you can do anything. You can be the best version of yourself in every aspect of your life. So that's what we're doing.
And you definitely can do it, but you can do it way better with a group of kick butt women in your corner. And I am absolutely someone that can say to you from my own experience that I think I'm kicking some butt, but let me tell you, the second that I got in front of Angela and we're doing it together and a whole group of women that are in this community, I'm doing it way more. So it's really about supporting you and uplifting you to be the best version of yourself that you want to be. And so we're going to go ahead and get started about a really important topic today. But before we do that, Ange and I are going to take 2 minutes to just talk about ourselves because some of you don't know us. And more than anything, we want you to get to know us because we're just like every other woman out there in such an amazing way that I believe each of us are so unique. So please, Angela, share a little bit about yourself.
I'm really simple, very practical, very down to earth, was raised on a farm. Pig farm part of my life. I have been married 20, how many years now, Galit? 20, 21? I don't even know.
Over 20.
Over 20. I have an amazing husband named Alan. We live in Las Vegas, Henderson area. I've got 3 boys, 20, 17, and 15, and 3 dogs. I've owned my own online business now for 18 years. And I do marketing and sales. And I'm on a few boards, like a nonprofit board here in Las Vegas, and I really enjoy it. I love serving people. And my mission really is just to get out and empower women in a much bigger way, in a global way. And here I am to support you tonight. And I'm just here to.
And she's awesome. Angela and I met for the first time virtually just like this through video. I did not know she lived in Las Vegas. And we jumped on a video. I was doing interviews at the time. I interviewed 20 women that own their businesses from all over the world for a series. And we met and we started talking. And I said, "Where do you live?" And she said, "Henderson." And I said, "I live in Las Vegas." We had tea the next week, and the rest is history, as they say.
That was 4 years ago.
Yeah, it was exactly 4 years ago this spring. So it's amazing how this world has become so small. So my name is Galit Ventura Rose, and I've lived in Las Vegas for over 32 years. I am the oldest of 4. My parents immigrated to America before I was born, so believe it or not, I'm first generation American, which most people don't even believe with my blonde hair and my light eyes. I have three amazing children that are 16, 20, and 23. They are my everything. An amazing man in my life. I have two dogs, two bunnies, and a bird, a beautiful conure that's a companion animal for my daughter. I own a commercial real estate company, as well as 4 years ago, I started my own online business called Empowering You, which does coaching and professional speaking and so much. Just like Angela, I'm involved in a lot of nonprofit organizations that support women especially, and I give back to the community with any way that I can. So that tells you a little bit about why we're so passionate about Everyday Woman. And this is a fun picture of Angela and I. We have a lot of pictures like this, just selfies and fun ones I'll be sharing through the weeks. Each time I'll add a new photo so you can see it. So let's get started. We're going to be talking about stress and anxiety, because some people can have stress in their life and never experience anxiety. Some people have stress that turns into anxiety. And I'm going to differentiate both today, because you may or may not know, but I have a master's degree in therapy, and so I really learned how to help therapeutic clients that had general anxiety disorder. Now, I'm not going into that space tonight, but my background and my degree and my education has taught me ways that I can help people that are dealing with anxiety. More than anything, I feel called to help people because I have been diagnosed with general anxiety disorder myself, way before everything that's going on right now. And I have learned how to help myself without taking any prescription drugs. Now, there's nothing wrong with taking prescriptions. I support it, and everyone should do what's good for them. But for myself, I found a way through a lot of the things you're going to learn today to minimize my stress so it doesn't turn into anxiety, but still sometimes it does. So what is stress? Stress really is a reaction to pressure, to demands, to worry, and that when we can't cope, it turns into stress. And what ends up happening is it takes a wear and tear on our bodies and on our minds. And we're going to be talking a lot about what it actually can do to you internally, externally, and to your behaviors, to your physical being, to yourself, and to your mind. But more than anything, it really comes into fruition because of a changing environment. And right now is a perfect example. Angela, do you want to jump in with anything regarding stress?
Well, I just want to say you're right on target. It is the prime example, and it's global. So it's affecting every single one of us in some way, shape, or form. So I'm so grateful you're all here and you're open and honest about the fact that you may have some stress in your life or anxiety right now.
Yeah, absolutely. So in comparison to stress, what's anxiety? Now you're going to see a lot of crossover because, like I said, they really are interrelated. A lot of times if you don't have stress, you'll never have anxiety. There's something there that's interrelated that works together that gets us to that level. So environmental factors related to anxiety, which could be related to both. Financial concerns, work-related stress, family conflict, life transitions. And this is where the difference is between just stress and anxiety. When you're stressed out, you may or may not experience these, but you're absolutely going to be experiencing these symptoms if you have anxiety. And that's an irregular heartbeat. You know, that feeling of your heart pumping out of your chest. Panic attacks, and we'll talk a little bit more about those a little later. Irregular sleep patterns, trouble breathing, and muscle tension where everything gets really, really tight. And Ange, jump in wherever you want.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. So how we perceive life and ourselves really is related to what causes stress, because even though we have these external factors that are causing stress, which we'll go in greater detail later about which kind, at the end of the day, you need to recognize that in some shape or form, we really are sometimes doing this to ourselves because of the way we perceive the things that are around us. Now, please understand, I don't think that we like to torture ourselves. I just think that at times it's natural that we allow these things to affect us and we don't always know how to stop them. And that's why we're doing this. So if you feel threatened, if you feel sad, if you feel discouraged, that's going to be the side that what I call negative stress factors. Positive stress factors are when you simulate yourself, when you're encouraged, and when you're happy. And I'll go a little bit more about that in the next slides. Before we do that, when you talk about symptoms of stress, you need to recognize that it affects your physical, your mental, your behavioral, and your emotional. And I'll give you a quick example of each, and then I'd love it if Angela did too. For me, physical symptoms when it comes to stress is I will not sleep good at night, or possibly I'm really restless during the day. So that's something that would be a physical symptom. And then what happens is I get really tired. So for me, the physical symptom is stress may make me really tired because it gets me all worked up, and then I'm feeling really tired. Is there one that you have, Angela? Physical?
For me, I'm not sure exactly what happened to me when this coronavirus thing became.
Oh no, you're echoing. Hold on, Ange. I'm not sure why you're echoing. Hold on. Try again.
Okay, am I still echoing?
Yeah. Let me see if it's better. Okay, it's better when I mute you. Try speaking again.
Okay, can you hear me?
Perfect, go.
Okay. So I want to share with you real briefly, like a real-time example that happened to me a couple weeks ago when this whole coronavirus thing like really, was mainstream. I went to bed and I woke up in the middle of the night, like 3 a.m. with my heart pounding. I like literally was freaking out and my mind started whirling, and my mind whirls all the time anyways, but it started whirling. And then I sat up in bed and like got super anxious. And I got on my computer on Amazon. I'm like, oh my gosh, maybe I need to like, what do I do? Should I order something to take care of my family? Do I need medicine? Like all these thoughts were going around in my head. And then I started to cry. So for me, that was a symptom of stress. Like it was a stress because I had read all this stuff right before I went to bed, which wasn't smart. But I mean, very real. I'm very real, very down to earth. So I will tell you, if you've experienced anything like that, I'm here. I've done the same thing.
It's happening to a lot of people right now, and it's very normal, especially with a changing environment, which is the reason why we experience stress. So mental symptoms, oh my gosh. Mental symptoms would be related, I'm giggling because I've experienced these. Mental symptoms of stress would be related to, I have a tendency, not in these situations, but in normal situations, I'll share with you what happens to me. If something bothers me and stresses me out, I will have conversations with people in my head. So I'll obsess over the conversations, and I will have 6 or 7 different kinds of conversations in my head with that person before I actually speak to them, because I want to make sure I'm having the conversation right in my head. So that for me is a mental symptom. What about you, Angela?
I mean, I do that too. I used to do that a lot when I was younger. I don't do it as much, but I think for me, my mind just goes really fast when I get stressed, and it's harder for me to focus.
That makes sense. Yeah, focus is really tough when you're stressed out because your mind is just not where it should be in that calm place. Behavioral symptoms, snapping at other people. When you are stressed, you're not acting like yourself. So you might snap, you might be short-tempered, you might not have as much patience. Patience is a big one, not having as much patience because your body is in a state of stress. You're not thinking straight. And then emotional could be crying, screaming, sometimes throwing things, yelling. What else, Angela?
I mean, for me, it's really, truly, I cry a lot or I get upset.
Yeah, I'm an emotional.
I sometimes isolate too.
Isolate, okay. That would be related to emotional as well. And ladies, I've got the chat box open. I won't be saying your name out of privacy because it's recorded, but if you want to write anything that you experience, and you can cite to everyone, or you can just write it to the host and I'll be the only one to see it, please feel free to, and I'll throw that in as an example without your name. Now let's talk about negative versus positive. Now there's a reason why I like to talk about negative versus positive stress, because not all stress is bad. And I know that sounds crazy because you're thinking, what do you mean stress is always bad? No, not always. And I'll give a few examples of the differences. So let's talk about negative stress. Negative stress. Negative stress can cause you headaches, digestive problems. Oh my gosh, a lot of people take everything to their stomach, right? So many people right now, ironically, are going to the bathroom constantly. And you know what I mean by ironic, but it's just they don't do well with it. So it could be skin complaints, rashes, eczema flares up, different things like that. Insomnia, not sleeping, ulcers, which are caused because of the digestive problems. And then excessive and prolonged unrelieved stress, that's the key, unrelieved, can have mental, physical, and spiritual health issues that are going to be happening to you because of the negative stress. Now, negative stress is a lot of what we're going through right now. The uncertainty, the unknown, not knowing what's happening. A lot of people are not working. A lot of people are home together. Those things are going to be the negative stress. The positive stress is related to, oh my gosh, I have a deadline. And then you get that thing done. Oh my gosh, I'm going to be late. So you leave early and you prepare, set an alarm. These are the kind of things that are related with positive stress. They motivate you. They make you aware. Now, they stimulate you and they push you to cope with challenging situations. So in a normal situation, if you have a big, huge presentation to give tomorrow at work in front of your boss, that positive stress is going to make sure you practice the presentation, you check the PowerPoint, you make sure there's no errors, you make sure that you're there early. That's really what the positive stress, and it gives you that urgency. And one of the other things I like to use as an example is that fight or flight. If you're in a situation that you need to move quickly, let's say a car accident is a good example. If you're in a car accident and you know you got to get out of that car right now before somebody else move the car or get out and move to the side of the road or on the other side of the barrier, that is positive stress because it's reminding you, oh wait, I've got to do this right now, and it gives you urgency. Angela, any other positive stress you can think of?
I think for me, I just want to say that positive stress is actually the thing that it really motivates me and it keeps me moving, and I get a lot of stuff done because of positive stress. But I think that there's a fine line between positive and negative stress. And so for me, I have to be very, very, very mindful of that.
Yes, and to be honest with you, and I think it's on a slide coming up, that there is a fine line. It's the perfect words that Angela used, because you've got to know how much you can cope with before you go to the negative stress.
Right.
So if you got 6 deadlines all on the same day, you might turn that motivation into negative stress because now you've got way too much on your plate. That just doesn't make sense. So be very aware of what Angela said. It's such a key point to that. So we're going to talk a little about external stress and a little bit about internal. Now, the reason why I'm talking about the different stresses is because there's going to be a small exercise that you can do at home based on this at any time when you're feeling stressed. And also, before we give you the tips and the techniques, we want you to really understand what you're feeling, because to be successful in handling your anxiety or stress, you've got to be aware of what you're actually experiencing, because they could be different and then you'd have different techniques. So external stresses are what's happening on the outside of you. And this is the most fun, and I'm being a little bit funny, because you have no control over the things that are happening on the outside. And if we controlled everything that was happening in our life positively, you might not have stress in your life, but we all know that that's just impossible. So change in routine, which a lot of us are experiencing right now. Death, relationship changes, change in economy, change in financial status, change in job or work, and change in responsibilities.
Can I just say and laugh? Because what's going on right now, you could almost say that all of us are experiencing almost all of these, maybe not death of a loved one, but all of these could be something that's impacting you right now. Even relationship changes because people are stuck in their house with all of their family and you're not used to that. I mean, you might be changing responsibility because you're stuck at home with your kids all day and normally they're at school. Who knows, right?
Good, yeah. No, it's so true. When I put this together, I was thinking, Oh my gosh, so many of this is already related to what we're going through right now. And a lot of us are experiencing stress and anxiety based on probably almost all of these stressors. So it's very, very common right now. Absolutely. A lot of us have that in common. And I'm not saying we don't on a regular basis, because a lot of us do, but it tends to be more here and there instead of consistent. And what's happening right now is it's very consistent. A lot of us have stress in our lives every single day. I don't think stress ever goes away. I just think we get better at handling it. But right now we're dealing with an overabundant amount of stress, and it's kind of like everybody's dealing with it. It's
The
really
rain
what's
is war.
happening. Yeah, yeah. So internal stresses, you're worrying, your attitudes are changing, thoughts are not working for you, they're working against you. Your feelings, you might be feeling anger, fear, worry, frustration, anticipation. Your imagination is getting the best of you. Your memory may not be working as well, and the amount of sleep and rest you get. Those are all internal stressors. So if any of this is what you're experiencing, you absolutely have stress in your life right now, and we want to find a way to help you so you can minimize it. Now remember, minimizing stress doesn't always mean minimizing the things that are causing it. It may just be minimizing the way it's affecting you. I don't have some magic wand, and neither does Angela right now, to make everybody feel absolutely amazing and wonderful and make all this go away. But we want you to take these techniques and use them so you can yourself minimize them as much as possible. And we recognize that it won't completely go away. So this is one of the things that you can do on your own, and then we're going to start falling into techniques and tips and all kinds of stuff we're going to be sharing. Oh yes, absolutely. Someone wrote so many checkout right now. Yes, so true. And please feel free to comment in the chat box if you want to add to this, so we can throw in some real examples aside from mine and Angela's. What you would do in this matter is, we talked about the physical, emotional, behavioral, and mental effects of stress. You want to write down the ways that you experience it, whatever that might look like for you. And we gave you some of our own examples. And then you want to circle the way stress affects you the most. So it might be you get more physical than emotional, or more emotional than mental, or more behavioral than physical. Whatever it is that affects you the most. And then you want, go ahead, Ange.
Or you might do all four like I do.
Yeah, if you're getting affected in all four, which a lot of people really are, then write it in all four.
Yeah.
And then you want to list 2 or 3 things you can do to reduce these symptoms. And we're going to be giving you a lot of ideas, because Angela and I are experiencing a lot of what you guys are, being in our homes. We're self-quarantined. We don't go out for anything except for to go get groceries, which I'm having delivered right now. I'm even having food delivered, and I only go out when I have to take my daughter to something like a medical appointment or go see my parents, very small things. So I'm spending a lot more time in the house than I ever have. And we're going to give you real live examples that you can use in the environment that you are in right now. This is something big that I want to bring up. As women, especially, and that's why we're doing these things only for women. I want us to have a safe place, safe space that we can talk. We sometimes think that showing our emotions is a sign of weakness, or sharing it with others, or being stressed and experiencing these symptoms. And it's just not true. I actually believe it's a sign of strength when you are aware of what you are going through, and when you are willing to share it, and when you are willing to talk to somebody about it. So I just really wanted to kind of put that out there first. And when you are aware, and when you are familiar and might share it with somebody else, that in itself gives you an opportunity to start making a plan on how to feel better about it. Here we go. And remember, I'm going to send this out, so don't worry about taking too many notes or anything. You're going to get this. I'm going to start with this. Now, please understand, it is so much simpler for me to say it than it is to do it. And I'm very familiar, but we've got to start with a technique. Reframing your thoughts is huge. When you start getting those negative thoughts in your mind and those worry and those concern of things that you cannot actually control and more than likely don't even know the outcome to, but you're making your own outcomes in your head, the first thing that you want to do is reframe your thoughts. How do you do that? I'm going to be offering, and so is Angela in our group, some worksheets for you that are just going to be uploaded into the files. You can have them, enjoy them. There's some reframing techniques in there that go really in great detail, and also how to change your negative thoughts to positive ones. But what we're going to do is just give you a few quick ideas. If you are home with your kids and you are about to pull your hair out and you're getting all kinds of new gray hairs, I know we all need to dye our hair.
I do. Eyebrows.
Yes, eyebrows. The eyebrows started.
Yeah.
You can instead of saying, oh my gosh, when am I going to get some alone time? You can say, how lucky am I that my children are home safe and healthy. And I have an environment where they are, because there's so many kids out there that are not in safe environments, even in their own home. Or better yet, the idea that they're with you, now you can control, I'm using that word because we want to control as much as we can right now to make ourselves feel better. You can control who they're around, so you know that they're going to stay healthy. So when you reframe your thoughts, that in itself allows you to change your thoughts, which will in turn calm your body. So Valerie wrote, absolutely, Angela, eyebrows. She's so funny. And Kimberly wrote, I'm sorry, she's got to get moving. Yes, absolutely. Get moving like a walk. It provides her in a new mood, 100%. Walking, even in place. I have people walking around their backyards, going up and down the stairs 20 times a day. Whatever works, walking around the kitchen island.
Take a laundry basket, put your little
Yes.
dog or cat in it and walk, or clothes, and walk up and down your stairs and do this.
Yes. Somebody else wrote that she blows raspberries, which is really awesome. I love that, because you're just letting go of all of that steam and you're letting it all happen. Absolutely. Negative thoughts are what cause our stress. So the more that you can learn to have positive thoughts, I'm going to give you an exercise that I used to use with my anxiety clients. You take a page, a piece of paper, I don't care if you type it or write it down, it doesn't matter, and I want you to write down every thought right now in your mind that you're worried about or that's negative. More than likely, you will not have more than a half to a full page, if not less. This blows people's minds out, because they just think it's taking over their mind. But at the end of the day, when they show it on a piece of paper, it's like a half a page or a quarter page or a full page, and that's it. Then I want you to rebuttal each of those negative thoughts with 2 to 3 positive thoughts. And I want you to go factual. A lot of times, anxiety and stress is based on not factual information. Ladies, even though there's all these facts out there, they're still not 100% believed and backed up, because we don't know what's happening every single day. A lot of people are guessing. So this is not to say don't keep being smart and make smart decisions. This is just to change your negative to positive, so your brain and your mind can have some calm, which in turn will help your body. Angela, jump in wherever you want.
I will, for sure.
So when you change the way you look at things and recognize there's many ways to interpret the same situation, that's the key. Then it helps you view things in a different light, and then you are less stressful. Go ahead.
Yeah, I wanted to jump in here and say one of the things for me, where it talks about helps you view things in a different light and less stressfully. One of the things that I've really started doing, and I started doing this before this whole coronavirus thing started, but it's really helped me, is to radically accept where I'm at in my life. I'm radically accepting what's going on right now, today. And it's this weird thing because it helps me view things different and it takes the pressure off. And in a weird way, it helps me feel like I'm in more control. So it's almost like
Yes.
like I'm
It makes
reframing my
complete sense.
circumstances.
Yeah. No, that makes complete sense. And
Yeah.
when we're in control, that in itself is comfort. And
Yes.
you know I'm a big believer in not living in your comfort zone, but that's not related to life right now. That's related to doing things that you want to do in your life, but you're being held back because of it. So someone also wrote, I also remind myself how blessed I am. I'm doing better than 95% of the world. That's what she says to herself. My problems aren't as bad as they seem. That's a beautiful statement. Thank you for sharing that. I completely agree. Gratitude is going to be one of the things we're going to be talking about. When you think of positive thinking, and these are just a few of the ideas, they're not all related to now, but you focus on the positive, you focus on your strengths, you learn from the stress you are under, you look for opportunities, and you make a change. So that's really the key. And right now it's going to be little changes in little opportunities. But for me, I'm so thankful I have a backyard. A lot of people don't. I get to go outside and still stay in the vicinity of what is safe for me. So the idea that I get to go, I'm lucky I have a car. I'm lucky that I can walk to a park down the street and feel safe and still be distanced. So those are the kind of things I want you to think about. Someone else wrote, I have been learning to let go and accept some of the things I cannot control, which is beautiful. By not letting it weigh me down, I feel free. So thank you for sharing that.
You know, the other thing too, I think, you made a comment, Galit, that I thought was really profound. You said, for right now in this environment we're in, it's the small things. And I was thinking, how many of us have this long to-do list, either in our head or it's a honey to-do list, or it's like all these to-do lists of all these things we want to get done right now. If you're in your home because you have to be, or you're quarantining and whatever, think about that list. What is it? Like for me, it's like organizing my clothes by color, doing some simple things like that that I've been wanting to do for 6 months.
And it keeps your brain occupied.
Mhm.
That's really what the key is. And we're going to be talking about that, Angela, about one of the ways is distractions, which
Right.
that's a perfect example for a distraction. And I think that a lot of people really need that right now, and structure. And we'll be talking about some of those techniques. So changing your behavior is the technique, the second technique. Now, be assertive is quite interesting, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about that later. People go, what do you mean be assertive? Which is funny because they're being assertive when they say it that way. So I'll talk about that a little more, but these are some of the ways. Be assertive, get organized, venting, which I'm huge about venting. Now, please understand, venting is not complaining. Venting is I'm getting it out of my head, I'm getting it out of my system, and I'm moving on. Very different than complaining. Humor. I've never been funnier in my life than I am now, because I just think humor and laughing and smiling is saving my life in a sense internally. And then Angela already mentioned diversion and distraction. Color coding your closet. Finally emptying out 2 years of boxes in your garage. That's me. 2 years ago I moved, and finally every box is empty. Finally, my guy can put his car in the garage after 2 years. So there's plenty there to do. I've got a few more comments I'm going to read. With any challenge, I say to myself, what an opportunity. Then it reframes the issue for me. That's beautiful. Thank you. What an opportunity. So that's a beautiful way. I know it sounds more challenging now, ironically, in this time, but when you reframe your thoughts, it brings peace to your brain, and that's really what we want more than anything for you right now. Here's the be assertive. Now, be assertive means speak your truth, speak your mind. That's how I see being assertive. It is okay to say, kids, I need some alone time. It's okay to say, could you go upstairs for 15 minutes? I've got to make this call. It's okay to walk outside by yourself. It's okay to go hide in the shower for an extra 20 minutes. This is what being assertive is. It's sharing your thoughts, your feelings, and knowing the rights that you have in verbal and nonverbal communication. Saying no is very healthy. Saying no, not right now, I need 5 more minutes. and
I think
knowing your boundaries.
absolutely. And I want to speak up here because I've ran an online business for the most part for 18 years starting when my kids were really little. And the thing that and so I think this might be helpful for you if you normally don't have your kids home all day long, because mine were home all day long and I was on the phone with people and I was working, on my computer. And I think it's 100% okay for you to tell your kids if you need to take a break, or if you, give them an activity and you set a timer or whatever, if they're little or if they're teenagers, and you set boundaries with your children and you give consequences, and they don't have to be anything like bad or whatever, but for yourself. Because right now, if you're all home together, or you're dealing with these kind of things and all this extra external stress, having limitations and having boundaries in your family are really, really important, and it helps keep people calm. Kids need that. I really believe they need to feel like someone cares and is in control for them, especially when they've never gone through something like this.
And we're not just talking about kids, we're talking about animals. My two puppies, God bless them, they sometimes are more of a challenge than my children were when they were little. And so they'll make me crazy at times. And okay, time to go outside and play. And I'll take them outside to play in the backyard. So animals, significant others, if you're living with friends, your parents, you must stay sane. A lot of the ladies that are listening today are ladies that really are running the household, that you are the key to keeping peace, to keeping calm. I'm very aware of who is watching today, and that will all stem from you. So what Angela's talking about can in itself show others in her family and others in her household that they themselves have the ability to be assertive to what they need.
Well, and it's
And
really,
that's okay.
and I want to give an example. So my son, who's 20, lives with us on and off, and he was downstairs watching TV, and he's normally like gone all the time. And of course he's home now. And I got a phone call and I was talking to a client and he had the TV on and I was sitting on the couch. And normally, I'm home, this is my business. What I say goes typically during the day. And he actually looked at me and he's like, "Hey mom, can you go upstairs? Cause I'm here and this is the only place I can watch TV." And I'm like, my first inclination was to be like, "No, this is my house." But of course I didn't. I took a step back and realized, hey, he's setting a boundary with me. He's telling me what he needs right now. I can go upstairs in my office and close the door. So
Yes.
that was okay with me. And
But it's so great that you taught him that was okay.
Mhm.
It's important to have these conversations within the family and say, mommy needs. I remember when my little kids were little, I had 3 kids under the age of 7. And I remember when they were little, and it was never done in a harsh way. It was just mommy needs mommy time. And it made me a better mom. And the same thing at work and the same thing in my businesses. There's boundaries that I set. My clients don't have my phone number. They don't text me. It's okay to set boundaries because you can't be the best you unless you take care of you. Everyday Woman is about community, but it's also all about you, and that you want to be what you can to everyone that you love, because I know so many people watching are taking care of other people. And that's real important to know that. Someone else wrote, I sincerely asked my mother not to stress me out today. She's on a fixed income. She's used to asking me for things. I had to establish a quick boundary. Got to. Good for you. See, there's nothing wrong with that. It doesn't make you a bad person. The next one of mine and Angela's favorites, is get organized. Now, with the crazy that's happening in our houses right now, or wherever it is that you are, I have to tell you, organization is my calm. So I don't know about you, and it doesn't mean it has to be. Some people, chaos is what their calm is. If that's what works for you, you go for it. I'm going section by section in my house, paper pile by paper pile. I have a home office as well, and I'm prioritizing the things that I need to do. I'm giving myself structure, which I know I wake up in the morning and I follow a certain routine. I set manageable and achievable goals, and I do not overload my mind. I know where my limit is. Angela, what kind of things are you doing to get organized?
Well, I have 3 kids that are home, and I give them chores every day to help me organize, because to be quite frank, I still am running a full-time business from home, plus doing other things, plus having the kids home. So I don't have a lot of time off to organize, but I have family that's home that can organize. So things like cleaning the garage out, organizing their room, going through their clothes that they needed to, get rid of. This weekend we went through and like washed everything, and we, disinfected the house. So stuff like that is more what I've been doing. But I'm pretty organized by nature anyways.
It seems like I'm organized, and then it's all a mess, and then I got to go again. It feels like I'm constantly catching up with the organization.
Well, if I could share my screen, but I won't because I'm too embarrassed. Because it feels like I'm actually doing more with the kids home, just because there's more people around. I have laundry that's sitting right next to me in my office, because my office is right next to my laundry room, that I'm like, oh my gosh, I folded all of it last night, and now I've got like 3 more piles. So, what can I say?
One of the ladies said that the same for her with the laundry, Ange, so you're not alone. Venting. So I love this quote. I found it online. I don't know who said it, but a problem shared is a problem halved. Now, again, venting and complaining is different. And let me explain to you what I think the difference is. Venting is, I'm really having a hard time today staying motivated. I don't know what's going on with me. I'm really worried today. And then you move on, okay? You don't just talk about the same thing over and over again, complain about it, and not be grateful. That's the difference between venting. But our brains, in my opinion, the way that they work, not scientifically proven, but I'm probably sure it could be, is when we get it out of our mouth and we share it, it tends to lighten us. It's here that makes us crazy. It's those thoughts that keep going in circles over and over and over again. I mentioned earlier that I used to have these obsessive conversations with people in my head that were stressing me out or that I was having problems with. And I learned how to control that, because I recognized that talk about it and move on. Someone said, let it go. And I learned how to say that and how to do that. So this is really what Everyday Woman is about. You develop a support network through friends or colleagues to talk with. It's not always events that are stressful, but how we perceive them. Also writing. Angela talked about the before she went to bed and then she didn't sleep. So I know one of the things Angela's doing right now is she's keeping a notebook next to her on her nightstand or her laptop. And if her mind's going 100 miles an hour, she's writing out everything she has to do the next day to get it out of her system.
Yeah, I bullet journal.
Yeah. So. And we'll be sharing that in the group as well. Bullet journaling is something that Angela's a pro at, and you would love that. She has a whole blog and everything about that. So writing down a diary or notes may help release feelings, but do not reread it. So you just let it go, let it go, let it go, burn it, and get rid of it. We talked a little bit about humor. There's something about laughing. I'm so thankful for it. I love watching a comedy right before I go to bed. So I won't watch drama. I won't watch shows where people are dying or getting killed or whatever. I like comedy. I like going to bed laughing. I love to watch a show right before bed. It might be 30 minutes. So I don't know if that's for you, but it's just an idea.
So I love to read. We actually took the TV out of our rooms because my husband loves to watch TV, but I have a hard time because he'll leave it on and then I wake up. So I read. And I love to read. I like to laugh too. And I read funny books. I read all kinds of things, but I'll read I speed read though. So I'll read a book or two a night, but that's really helpful for me. And it's interesting because Alan and I will be laying in bed and he's watching a show on his little screen thing he has with his earphones in. He'll start laughing hilariously. Right. And I'm over there reading a book and then I start laughing and then it's funny because
you're laughing before bed too.
Yeah, that's my point. It doesn't have to be a show. It could be anything.
Yeah. It could be anything. Just talking with my kids sometimes. I don't know what it is. We just laugh so much and we'll giggle and we'll laugh. It's probably something that John's doing because he's always making us laugh. Right? So it improves breathing. It relieves muscular tension. It pumps endorphins into your bloodstream. So those are the kind of things that you want to do. Just a few things that people wrote. One of the ladies put a link in the chat of Let It Go from Frozen. Yeah, my daughter and I actually watched Frozen 2 the other day. It's on all of the channels and stuff. Being very mindful of what we watch is another thing that someone wrote. Let's see. Someone uses a gratitude journal. Thank you for sharing that. Those are great ideas. Reorganization and organization never ends is what someone else wrote. That's absolutely, oh my gosh, it's like takes over my life, I'm telling you. Time management is a key to reduce stress, a key. How many times do you say there's not enough time in the day, or I don't have enough time? And even though you're home all day, it's funny because what I'm hearing now is I'm home all day, but I didn't get anything done. I'm watching Netflix all day. So structure is really important. Staying in some type of routine like you did before. If you have to write out your day, what you're going to do during it. We're very structured in my house. We have a lot of routine Monday through Friday. Like you would think my kids are in school. I have one in college and one in high school. Like you would think they were in school. Like you would think I'm still working at a business all day at an office. And then we take breaks to eat together. We go back to what we're doing. We make sure we have time for what I call PE, which might be an online dance class, workout video, go for a walk. So plan your day, ladies. Plan your day. If you have somebody at home with you, work with them and incorporate them in your day. If you have kids at home, incorporate them into planning your day. It makes the days go so much faster. For me, 5 o'clock comes so fast, it blows my mind. And I don't know about you, but for right now, it's helping me that the days are going faster, because that in itself is getting us closer to being back to some kind of normal.
Our new normal.
Yeah, hopefully a way better one. Lifestyle. I will always talk about lifestyle. What are you eating? Okay. Are you exercising? Are you getting a good night's sleep? And are you doing some kind of hobbies? Angela talked about reading. I talked about watching for something funny before I go to bed. Is there an activity or something that you wanted to do and you didn't have time before that you can do in your home right now, or outside in front of your home, or in the backyard? Think about the kind of things that you can do and that are associated with taking care of you.
Oh, I love what she wrote. It will be a better normal because I'm learning to slow down and prioritize. It's so interesting you said that, because I was thinking the exact same thing the last few days. Like how, like so many of us are so busy. It's insane. And
All the time.
yeah, the fact that people are home with their families and taking time to yourself, it just makes you look at life a little different, I think.
It does. We're definitely being forced to reevaluate the things that we're doing in our life and how we run it. And I think that's the reframing, ladies. That's the positive thinking. It doesn't mean I am not empathetic and hurt and feeling what's happening out there, and I'm definitely not naive. It just means what I can control right now, there's that word, is the way that I choose to look at things. The way that you choose to look at things, you can reframe, and you can choose to look at differently, which in turn will calm the body, which calm the mind, and will cause you less stress and anxiety. And that's really what we're talking about. We're not asking you to be oblivious. We're just asking you to look and recognize it. How can you be healthier by your thoughts and to your body? So I'm going to go over this real quick. Then we're going to stop the recording. Then I'm going to go ahead and open up the cameras. Whoever wants to get on, I would love for us to have a conversation. Don't feel obligated to. No worries at all. If you need to get off, we'll be done in just a few minutes. I know people are getting ready for dinner. Structure is going to be my biggest takeaway tonight in bullet journaling. Yay! That made Angela happy.
Yay!
Angela, why don't you take us through this page? I did enough talking.
You're so fun. Okay, well let me minimize the screen so I can see. So first thing is, we'd love for you to join our community because we have so much amazing stuff to share with you. We have a Facebook page. It's facebook.com/everydaywoman. We have a private group. Just go on Facebook and type in Everyday Woman and we'll pop up. Come in our private group because we're going to be putting all kinds of stuff in there, all kinds of resources and things for you. Visit our website, Everyday Woman. It's not .com, it's .me. So just remember that on our website, you can see our podcast, our online TV. There's our free manifesto, which you can download.
This is the manifesto over here on the screen.
You can put that on your computer screen. You can print it off and put it on your fridge.
Mine's on my wall.
Yeah, you can put it on your phone. Mine's actually on my phone.
Screensaver.
Yes, as a screensaver. We have a free daily planner. It's like, oh gosh.
Over 100 pages.
Yeah. So
you can print it out.
You can print it out and put it in a binder. It is super cool. It is.
And it doesn't, I think it's for 2020, right, Ange?
It's for 2020. And when 2021 comes around, obviously we'll change it for 2021 and you can print out a new one. But you will absolutely love this. We'll put all the worksheets and stuff in our group. So we just encourage you. We always have positive quotes that come out Monday through Friday inside our group, our Facebook,
Instagram,
our Instagram, everything. There's just so much that we're doing right now.
And we've barely got started. We're going to be doing these classes for right now every Wednesday. So there'll be a new one next week. You'll get an email from us, anybody that registered today, and anybody that didn't show up will still get the email. So you'll be able to get on for the next class as well. I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording in case anybody wants to ask any questions.
One more thing real quick.
Please, Ange, go ahead.
I was just going to say, if you loved what we did tonight, or you love any of the things where you go to our website and you like our podcast or our episodes for our online TV, please invite other women to come to this community. We want the more the merrier. We want to support everyday women, literally everyday woman, just like you and me.
Yes, yes. Okay, so we're gonna sign off to those that are watching in a recording. Thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate you and make sure to stay connected.